Good morning, Soul Family, and welcome to Winning Wednesday Live with LC and you. And I'm super excited to be here. Number one, because today is our friend Pamela's birthday. This means that Pamela is celebrating herself today. At least I hope she is, and I feel pretty good that she will. Pamela has been an amazing just friend, asset to me, a beautiful, member of this soul tribe, this soul family. And just, man, she inspires me because to see someone living in their passion, in their purpose, inspires me to continue to walk in and towards my purpose every single day. I believe that having friends like that in our lives is a gift. In all honesty, the more people we surround ourselves with that are not necessarily moving towards the same goal or the same vision, but that are still sharing that vibration and mentality and that ability to do that deep down soul work, that's just a gift. And it's also a vital part of how we actually get to the places of our dreams and to living our best life. And everybody we know doesn't have to be in substance recovery. Hell, we're all recovering from something. And anyone that tells you they're not just hasn't realized what's taking over their lives right now. So I want to wish a special happy birthday to my friend and our friend, Pamela Topjian of Breakthrough Hypnotherapy. And she's running a contest, her birthday contest. So make sure that you check out hypnobreakthrough.com or go over to Facebook's Breakthrough Hypnotherapy. Tell Pamela that you are a Recovery Soul Food Tribe member, and she's going to give you a special gift, a gift on her birthday. And she's also running a pretty amazing contest. So get over there, see Pamela, and make sure that you tell her and fill her up with love and tell her happy birthday. May this be your most amazing day yet in life. So I'm so happy to have you here and in my life. So today we're going to talk about some things like that. In fact, we're going to talk about a subject I like a lot, like what is vibration? What does it mean in our lives? What does it mean to our recovery? And how do we raise that vibration? How do we begin to operate in this world in a way, in a direction that we choose? Not what we've been taught that the world chooses for us. There's one special thing that I wish I would have been told when I was young, and I will not stop saying it to you because it doesn't matter whether you're 3 or 103. The moment you understand this is the perfect moment. But if someone would have told me a long time ago that I had the control of how I lived, that I created my life, my reality, and would have taught me how, maybe I would have done some bigger and greater things, but that wasn't my path. My path was to learn this information, in this recovery process, to be so broken and open to it that I could absorb it like a sponge. And so I want to talk to you today about what is vibration? What does it mean to us? How to raise it, and exactly how we choose our own vibration and how our vibration actually attracts our reality, our circumstances, if you will. So that's today's Winning Wednesday Live with LC and you. I pray you are all well. I pray that you are ready to hear this. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, thank you so much. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you know every time we put up a video. Also, if you're watching on Facebook, any one of the Facebook channels, whether it's my personal Lona Currie, the Lona Currie business page, Recovery Soul Food page, any of those that you're watching on, make sure that you go in and turn on live notifications for our specific group. Facebook has let me know that now just because we follow doesn't mean we get notified when that group or that person goes live. So make sure that you do that today as well so you never miss our content. This may or may not be our last Winning Wednesday for about a week or so. I got some great news to share with y'all today. And a lot of things are going to change around here, and I'm so grateful to be sharing them with you. So if you guys are ready, you know I'm ready. Let's get this video shared out and get into this Vibration Winning Wednesday live. Happy Winning Wednesday and happy birthday to our good friend Pamela. I'm going to leave that running down there at the end just in case you come on later and you don't realize that it's Pamela's birthday. So make sure we talk to Pamela this morning. Good morning, Lisa Goldberg. Larry Brown, I love you, man. I need to talk to you, but I got to get with you. Happy Wednesday. Joni Faulkner, good morning. Pamela, our birthday girl, good morning. Been a hard week. Oh, yes. Joni, it has been a hard week, my friend. And I'm going to tell you what, hard weeks are like the catalyst to beautiful blessings. And when we talk about blessings, I have come to know and understand that sometimes we miss those blessings because they don't look like the blessings we envision. They may not look like the blessing we had planned out in our mind. And I think it's human for us to kind of be a little bit disappointed. But I also believe that that's also a great place to be sometimes so that we understand our vibration. And that's also a great place to start doing the work, because it's work for us to realize that, sure, what we were hoping for, the way we had envisioned it, the way we've been putting it out there, it didn't show up like that. But when we learn how to live that life of trust, we have to learn to trust that it is a better end result. And I'm living in that right now. This has been probably one of the hardest months of my life. Y'all know we lost our apartment through no fault of our own. We didn't get evicted. We didn't not pay the bills. In fact, we had been amazing tenants at that place for 6 years. It was where my recovery was born. It was where my fatherhood was born and tweaked. It was where my recovery really grew strong. It was where I thought I was going to die, and the place that I was grateful to live. It was a place that I had put my best into it, and I had raised my family there. Our son graduated from that place. So many things happened in that apartment, and it represented so much for me. And we had spent years being just model tenants. But our son had graduated and he had left, and my wife had woke up. You know, she had been in a deep, dark depression for basically 7 years. In fact, we hadn't been there 6. We had been there 7 years. So from the moment we moved into that apartment, my wife began her downward spiral into deep bipolar depression. I mean, the kind that she just checked out on us. You know, so much happened there. She also woke up there in January of 2020. But we started really getting a hold of, you know, what vibration meant. And you know, we had heard about the law of attraction, but too many times we're hearing about the law of attraction and we're not hearing what's underneath that. So we cast it off. We hear about the law of attraction. We cast it off and we think that's new age, that's sacrilegious. And, actually the law of attraction's in the Bible, but that's for another tutorial. Either way, we have to learn what all of that is, and really what's underneath. The meat of the law of attraction is the law of vibration. Now, what this means is your vibe attracts your tribe. And what that means is your vibration is what attracts your reality to you, your circumstances. And in all honesty, what looked like a raw circumstance with us losing that apartment had come on the cusp of a prayer that we prayed diligently outside every night. We would look up at the stars and we would say, we need a new start. We love this apartment. We love this neighborhood, but things are starting to kind of go wrong. Like, when that higher power starts kind of to gently shake you out of something, but you don't go because you don't recognize it. You're secretly praying for a new start, but you don't respond to the little bitty shakeups and the little bit of, and then finally you get the boot. Well, that's what we had been doing. We had been doing that. And we had put up with things in that apartment because that's how we felt about ourselves. We felt that we should just be grateful to be in this apartment, regardless that we had a major water leak that was costing us upwards of $800 a month, that the complex was unwilling to fix, that they had hired a fly-by-night crew that was drunk every day on the side of our apartment with a backhoe, building a retention wall that to this day, started 2 years ago, to this day is not even finished. But they were using our water. They perpetuated the leak. They made the leak worse. They were pouring concrete outside of our bedroom window at 5 a.m. They were drunk, hitting the side of our place with the backhoe. They were all over our porches. They used our porch as where they stored as if we weren't human. And it was those little things that kept revealing to me that this no longer matches with me. Like, there was a time when I would have just been super grateful to be there. But I had done so much inner work on myself and my self-esteem and realized that I'm not just a lowly old addict that should be happy with every scrap that someone throws. That I'm not trash that, deserves not to have their human rights respected. And that's what was going on. And it got so uncomfortable. And I finally forced the hand of the apartment complex and said, y'all got to fix this leak. We're going to make arrangements to leave the apartment for 1 week. We're going to do everything we need to, because they were going to have to drill into our foundation to fix the water leak underneath the house. Now, they didn't hire a plumber. They didn't hire anybody, that had any kind of skills or qualifications. They let the maintenance person with 3 weeks worth of training come in and drill hole upon hole upon hole in the foundation of our apartment, looking for this mysterious leak. And we had done all the work. We pulled up the carpet. We moved all of our stuff. We covered everything. I mean, we were model tenants, y'all. We were doing everything we could. And that week comes and goes, and they're not finished. So we make arrangements to stay another week. They're still not finished. They finally call us in that 3rd week and say, okay, we're finished. Y'all can come back now. We had large holes left in the floor that they didn't re-pour concrete in. and they just threw a piece of 3/4 inch plywood over. Everything that we had in that apartment was covered at least this thick in molded cement dust. It was unsafe for us to go back there. They weren't going to help us clean it. They weren't going to call in, a company to clean the ductwork. I was leaving this island we live on, taking a ferry boat over, driving 45 minutes to our apartment, and trying to clean this stuff up myself because my wife was not well enough to be in that environment. I tried to change the filters where they had run our air conditioner the whole time. And anyone who knows anything about sheetrock dust and all this other stuff is you don't run the air conditioner because it circles through all the ductwork. Long story short, there was no way we could go back there unless they had a professional company come in there and clean all of it. And they refused. In fact, they decided they were going to take advantage of us and force us out. That they weren't going to admit their mistake, even though they did. They admitted in a letter we knew that that work should not have been done while that apartment was inhabited. So how about y'all just move out? We had no money. We literally had no place to go. We weren't prepared for this. And the only thing I kept in my mind was those days and nights that we sat under those stars and prayed for a new start. And we had to live in trust because we had no other choice. And of course, all those old voices played over in my head that said, see what you get when you stand up for your rights. See what happens when you decide to be human and expect people to treat you that way. See what happens. But I didn't stay there. I heard that playing, but it was like someone in another room yelling it through the wall because I knew that I prayed for a new start. And the only way that new start was going to happen is if we had gotten so shaken out of our comfort zone that we had no choice but to move. See, we get caught in our comfort zones, y'all. Even though we want something else so bad, we get caught in these comfort zones. We allow ourselves to take less than life's best because somewhere inside of us, we believe that that's what we're worth. And I was so grateful for my recovery, not because it kept me clean. That wasn't even an issue, but because I had learned what I was worth, at least remotely. And now all of a sudden, we were living on this beautiful resort island in a house that had 4 bedrooms and 4 full bathrooms and this beautiful view of the ocean. It was sitting right on the ocean. And these people had come along in our lives. And all of a sudden, I was having to learn a new lesson, which was how to receive. That also will shake up and show you some belief systems. That will show you how much you're praying for something, but also how you don't know how to receive. How uncomfortable it is to be in a place where you've got to receive from these people because you have no choice. And I chose to be focused upon the lessons in that whole time versus the anger of being taken advantage of. Because let me tell you this, you can't be taken advantage of unless you turn around and give your power back to those people. Everybody kept telling me, you got to, sue these people and you got to do this and you got to do that. And I was fighting with all this stuff in my head. And my conclusion was, how do I keep a leg in both camps? How do I be angry and yet excited for this new start? How do I stay victimized and bitter and resentful and take full advantage of what I know my higher powers have put in front of me as a growing experience? How do I do that? Because if I'm bitter, because you can't be bitter and grateful in the same, mind, in the same heart, in the same vibration. And I want you to know, when I'm talking about emotions like bitterness, anger, gratitude, joy, that's vibration, y'all. That's what vibration means. When you are in resentment, you are vibrating on a very low scale. And let me tell you something, nothing but low vibrating circumstances and people can surround you and come into your existence, because you can't recognize the high vibe in people. You'll pass them on the street and you'll never know. When you're vibrating in gratitude, when you're living in gratitude, when you're living in excitement, you don't recognize the low vibration because you're living up here. And if where we vibe is what we attract back to us, then we make a choice on where we want to be. And it's not to say that we're not going to dip up and down sometimes, because we're human. That's how we're made. And during this whole thing, that was my goal. And the people around me, they weren't bad people by any means. People that are vibrating low are not necessarily bad people at all. They're people that don't know that they have a choice. They're people that talk about what is, tell it like it is, not realizing that they have a choice of what is and what they tell. And so I was telling the story of, I see what this is. This is a total transformation of my inside life. Not to mention my outside. Let's just talk about that, which kept me safe. It was getting very nerve-wracking for me to be riding, because I work on this island. So I was already riding this ferry with 100 other, macho contractors every day that were seeing me go through gender transition, and constantly had something to say, constantly laughed at me, constantly talked about me. So if you sit back from the things that you see in your life that you think are the greatest, awfulest circumstances ever, sometimes if you can sit back and see them from a different vibration, you can see all the blessings wrapped up in this one present. Fast forward, y'all. We've been here. Come August the 25th, we will have been over here for 1 year. Now, let me tell you, I never in a million years thought it was going to take us this long to find another place to go. But here's what we did. We took full advantage of this blessing, and we decided, you know what? We have a dream of being homeowners, whatever that means. And we're not going to downgrade into a rental that is 10 times smaller than we had because of budget cuts and now the whole affordable housing rates that have skyrocketed. We thought to ourselves, if we're going to pay this much money per month, to live in a place that we're not even happy with, why don't we buy something? Now, let's just talk real talk, my recovery warriors. How many of us planned to be alive so long that we need to worry about our credit score? Here are things that pop up in our lives all the time. I had the credit score of an addict. I did. And I started researching and doing little things that felt uncomfortable to me in the beginning, like, paying bills, paying off monies that were not in any way going to, that I was going to see any results from or whatever. I managed to raise my credit score, which is unheard of, 50 points within 2 months. It's because I was working towards a vision. And my vision was, we're going to take full advantage of this. We're going to do a lot of inner work. We're going to start living in gratitude. We're going to start being aware of our vibration. We're going to start being aware and making choices about the vibrations and the emotions and the psychological states that we live in. When we fall from grace, so to speak, we're going to clean it up. My wife and I had this beautiful space to continue working on our relationship. And by the way, I guess I better go on and warn y'all, this is going to be a little bit longer of a Winning Wednesday. But I got to tell y'all this, because I would be stealing from myself and all of you if I didn't let you guys know about this. And during all this time, our goal was we wanted a 3-bedroom and 2-bath. We wanted to be close to my mom, as she's a widow and she's getting older. We wanted to be close to my mom, and, we wanted to own something. Her neighbor passed away in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home on the very property that is right next door to her. We weren't happy that this man passed away by any means, but he was a much older man, and, it was his time. And a couple months later, we started thinking, why don't we try to buy that house? So we started with a vision of that, and it felt right and it felt good. And somewhere along the way, it was a go, but it just never was coming towards us in that way. And so sometimes when we think that the answer has shown up and it looks just like what we've been dreaming about, but it doesn't quite work out, there is this thing within us that can get lost in that vibration, because we are human beings and we get fixed on this one avenue. And we forget that our higher power knows what's truly best for us. And sometimes in the world, what looks best for us can be deceiving or might not be right in the time. This whole situation has taught us how to live in trust. Because as people, it was great during the winter, but as summer season starts coming, COVID starts, dwindling down, world starts opening back up, where we were, these people's houses that we stayed in, well, they were coming back in. So for the last 2 months, we've had to bounce every 2 weeks. It's been this boot camp of faith, because we didn't know where we were going. Where are we going to go? Okay, enjoy this 2 weeks because we're staying in beautiful nature. You cannot deny the gratitude you get to live in and this luxury we get to live in. So how do we learn to live in the present and not worry about what's going to happen 2 weeks from now? Where are we going to go 2 weeks from now? And each one of these times that we've moved, and it's been 6 times that we've done this. 6 times. The first couple times, my wife and I, our bodies were so sick from the stress of making sure that we had everything perfect, that we went above and beyond to make sure these homeowners, knew how grateful we were. Low vibration. We got to make sure they approve of us. We're in survival mode. Got to make sure that, we got a place to be. Our bodies would be purely sick, y'all, for the whole next week. We'd be run down, headaches, face broken out. I mean, all the things that you get when your body is diseased from your mind. Stress equals an overproduction of cortisol, which is a hormone in the body that hits you to fight or flight. It's what happens when you are face to face with a biting, gnarling dog, or your child is drowning, or you're choking. Cortisol disperses throughout the body, and the brain comes in and focuses on just what you need. So it cuts off the liver, it cuts off all things but what you need to run. It shoots all of your strength to your arms and legs so you can get out of there. And when you're in that space, you cannot create a vision for your future. You cannot create gratitude. You cannot live in gratitude when you are in that emotion. And we are not taught throughout our lives that we have any control of that. And for people in active addiction, we live in that mode day in and day out. Every day is a survival day. And it takes us a while and good information to learn that that's what's happening within our body. That's the layer of energy. We've all learned about aura and energy. We are energetic beings. We've got scientific scans that see our energy. That is the first layer of us. Then we get to the body. So what that energy turns into when you are in pure fight or flight mode is then attracts back to you like a magnet more survival circumstances. And you get in this ever-ending loop. Just survival after survival after survival after survival. And it is hard to start changing your life when you are locked in that loop. And so we have to be kind to ourselves in those situations. We have to not put so much pressure on ourselves to be in gratitude and to do what we're supposed to be doing and feel how we're supposed to feel. Because to the outside, everyone looking in on us thought we didn't have any problems. Thought we were living on a luxurious island, rent-free, with no problems. And they tell us this stuff. Must be nice living rent-free. Must be nice living. Because that's their perception. But they don't know what's happening on this side. And that's a lot of people in the world. And a lot of times what we're tempted to do is fight for our limitations by turning around and engaging with them and saying, you think it's rent-free? Well, let me tell you this, and let me tell you that, and let me tell you this. In those moments, we are fighting for our limitations. When we are one-upping each other with suffering. You ever know those people that when you tell them a problem, they go, oh, you think that's bad? Well, let me tell you this. Or you think you suffered? Oh, let me tell you this. We've all been caught in those vibrations. And when we do that, that evidence comes back to us. And what it does is it reiterates that belief system. We say, see, I told you this was going to happen. What if it happened because you told it so many times? What if it happened because that's all you could see? And yet in the world, we're taught to prep for the worst case scenario. Doomsday prepping. Doomsday prepping. There's nothing wrong with it. It gives a lot of people joy. But at the same time, are you prophesying? We know that words are power. We know that what you say to yourself, about yourself, or to other people over and over and over again becomes a belief system within you. And you cannot live past the way you believe. So you may want to be a millionaire, but if you believe internally that you are a pauper, that carrot of that millionaire status will continue to be just out of your reach. If you somehow have a subconscious belief that money equals evil, that money is the root of all evil, that all rich people are liars, cheats, and thieves, and yet you say you want to be a millionaire, it won't happen. You've got to change that belief system first. And the way we take a great inventory of what our internal vibration belief systems are is by sitting back and observing those constant things that come up in our lives. What are the things that continuously happen in your circumstances? What is it you say you want, and yet what is it you truly believe? There are many, many, many awesome tools that you can use to start recreating those subconscious beliefs. I use a lot of hypnotherapy because it relaxes the conscious mind, your monkey mind, your think, and it speaks directly to your soul mind. That's where I believe that's our higher power, that soul, that inner mind, that's the voice of God within us. As we are all expressions of the divine in physical form. We are love in formed expression. But we don't believe that. So I use a lot of hypnotherapy. My friend Pamela does hypnotherapy for my wife and I. It's changed my wife's life dramatically. I listen to things. I'm very selective of what I listen to because, listen, you've got to be selective about what gets said to your soul, what gets said to your subconscious. Be selective about that. There's plenty of things. I listen to a lot of YouTube. Even iTunes has a lot of this stuff you can listen to at night when you sleep. Down real low, and it speaks to your subconscious at night. I do it in the morning. I've also I do an exercise to where like I told y'all during this past Sunday night when I was talking to Dr. Marina Costina, I have an exercise where I add 2 minutes every day to my clock. First thing in the morning, I sit with myself and I just breathe. No distractions, no nothing. I close my eyes and I sit there, and my mind wants to distract me. It wants to get up. It wants the coffee. It wants to take the dog out. It wants to smoke a cigarette, or it wants to vape. It wants to be listening to something. It wants to do things. But we have to start teaching the mind that we are in control, that the body is not in control of the mind, that we are in control of us. And we connect so deeply to that divine higher power when we do that. When we exert our power in a loving, conscious way, we are touching the power of God within us. And it's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And we got to just do this stuff. We got to be diligent to beginning to become aware of where we stay the majority of the time. And if you find that you stay in survival mode, please, you're not a bad or a weak person for being there. You're not a bad or a weak person because you can't just jump off the roller coaster and start thriving, in high vibration. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes due diligence of us becoming aware. And this is what it means to get to know ourselves and to then take steps towards changing it. And sometimes it's hard to see your progress when you're in the midst of it. I want you to know that we found an answer for us, way different than we thought it was going to be. But it felt right, and we knew that it was going to be right because we're down to the wire again. And this time, there's no alternative. And we could finally see the blessing. And I want you to know that I had but 24 hours to come up with an exorbitant amount of money. And do you know that it took me less than 2 hours to do that? Now, that's not because of my skills. That's because I have worked on my vibration. And the people that were willing to jump in there and say, absolutely, no questions asked, we will help you. That came from learning to receive, learning to trust, learning to see the divine blessing versus the original vision I had. And I want to tell you that I've just been spending so much time in gratitude. And I thank my friend Pamela for reminding me to bask in the gratitude, because it's like one moment, all the work that you've done shows itself to you. Maybe it's not every day, but I started making sure that every single day I tried to find where I had raised my vibration, where I was responding differently to the circumstances of my life. And I haven't been afraid to do the work. And I want to tell you today, wherever you are in life, whatever's going on around you, there is a blessing in each one of these circumstances. Even if it doesn't morph down from the sky in the way you thought it was, you are changing. We like to see change as a physical thing. I fix something, it works. Yay. But with these internal, with this shadow work, this internal work, this recovery, it doesn't always present itself like that. It presents itself in a moment that you build even the smallest boundary and you stick to it. It shows itself in you changing your emotional state. It shows itself in you just responding different to outside stimulus. It shows itself in someone in your family making a comment that doesn't ping off of your heart anymore. So learn to recognize those places and spaces, and at the same time, know that it will result if you stay diligent. It will result in that blessing that you are looking for. And don't be afraid to adjust your vision. You'll know when that blessing shows up. You will feel it. I said to the guy last night where we were making the deal to buy, our semi-permanent housing solution last night, I said, my friend Pamela says, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And this feels like a hell yes to me. So hold that mantra in your life today and use it with every small decision. Make sure you check in with your body. How does this feel? How does this, am I feeling like really right on time with this? And learn to trust it. When you're new in recovery or new to this work, sometimes you'll still have a lot of distrust for your intuition and your alignment. And so you may trust your alignment and it not end up like you thought it would, but that's okay too. Trust is a learning process. You don't come out of distrust and jump into full-on trust in a matter of moments. You're working towards something. And though every day won't seem like unicorns and rainbows, there's always a rainbow in there. In every storm, it produces a rainbow somewhere. So how will you see your life today? And when you find yourself in that moment of fight or flight, when you're in that survival place and you learn to recognize it, number one, bravo for recognizing it. And number two, that's when you can go back and do that 7-Eleven breath. When you can breathe in for the count of 7, hold for 1, and then breathe out slowly for the count of 11. Hold and do it again. Do that just 3 times when you're in that place. Give yourself a moment to come back to center and make a different decision, or look at change your vibration. I sometimes notice when I'm driving or just sitting that my face will be in almost a frown. Sometimes all you got to do is just put a smile on your face and hold it for 5 minutes. That will change your physiology. When you change your physiology, you change your psychology. Do these little things. Start raising your vibration little by little. You can have the life that you dream of. Yes, you can. Your best years are actually ahead of you, not behind you. Hold a vision for your future and get up from the living in your past, your vision of your past, your memory of the past. Spend more time with the vision of your future than you do in the past, and you can't help but reach your destination. I really, really love you guys, and I hope you can feel that with me. And thank you for being on this journey with me, and thank you for allowing me to share all of this stuff, because these Winning Wednesdays for the past almost year have really been filled with a lot of personal experiences. And it's not over. This is what I do. So we will be moving this weekend, so I won't have a weekend show for you. But hopefully we'll be back up and running next week for Winning Wednesday. I will keep you posted. So keep an eye on our Instagram page. Keep an eye on our Twitter. Keep an eye on our Facebook. Just keep an eye out, and you will know we will keep you posted the entire time for what we're going to do. And the great news is now that we're going to kind of be going back to the way things were in the beginning, I'm hoping to get back to doing a lot more shows for you guys in the week. So possibly going back to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, morning motivation. I'm excited about that. I've missed you guys so much. So you guys get on out of here. Have the most amazing Winning Wednesday of your entire life, because you choose to. And yes, you are that powerful. I love you, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.